So today we're going to unpack something pretty incredible. It's basically a digital time capsule, a message sent across an entire decade by a young YouTuber named Jimmy Donaldson, someone we all now know as Mr. Beast. And those are the very first words of the video. It's not some big, flashy intro. It's just a direct, personal message to himself. It immediately just pulls you into this really intimate, kind of strange experiment with time. The whole setup is simple, but man, is it powerful. He recorded this on October 4th, 2015, and he scheduled it to upload exactly 10 years later. He was literally trying to talk across a decade to a version of himself he couldn't possibly imagine. So yeah, this is, for all intents and purposes, a message to the future. It's like a digital message in a bottle, thrown into the giant ocean of the internet, just set to wash ashore in 2025. And this whole format, the time capsule video, it's its own fascinating little subgenre on YouTube. It's a real gamble with technology and time, a bet that the platform's even going to be around, and that someone, in this case his future self, will be there to get the message. The context here is what makes this whole thing so wild. We're not seeing the global icon Mr. Beast. This is just Jimmy, a teenager. He's got a measly 8,000 subscribers, and he admits he's procrastinating on studying for a history test to make this video. I mean, it's just so relatable. And that teenager, well, he had one single, all-consuming goal, a number that felt so impossibly huge that it became the absolute center of his entire message to the future. So this was his starting line. 8,000 subscribers. A respectable number for back then, but really just a tiny drop in the vast ocean of YouTube. And this was the finish line he imagined. 1 million subscribers. For the Jimmy of 2015, this was it. This was the absolute peak of the mountain, the ultimate proof that everything he was doing for the next decade was worth it. And then there's the reality. Over 289 million, and it just keeps climbing. Look, this isn't just exceeding a goal. This is shattering it into a million pieces and then building a whole new universe from the dust. The scale of it is it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. You can just hear the desperation in his voice when he says this. It's not some casual wish. It is a plea. He repeats it almost like he's praying to a future self that he hopes is out there listening and really hopes has succeeded. But here's the thing. This dream wasn't just about success, it was also about a really profound fear of failure. He set the stakes for his future self about as high as they could possibly go. He frames his entire goal in the most absolute black and white terms possible. There's no middle ground here. For him, in that moment, it was either 1 million subscribers or a failed life. That's just a stunningly intense thing for a teenager to declare to the world. And right in the middle of all this high-stakes ambition, you get this raw, unfiltered teenage thought. He just casually thinks about his own death. It's a moment that totally humanizes him and reminds us, hey, this is just a kid thinking out loud about the huge, scary, unknown of the next 10 years. His anxieties were this funny mix of the profound and the totally mundane. He worried about his passion, sure, but also about very normal teenage stuff, like whether he'd be married. But it all came back to that central fear. What if he fails and everyone just thinks he's a big loser? Which brings us to the reply. And let me tell you, the future didn't just answer his questions. It gave him a response so massive, so overwhelming, that his past self couldn't have even understood the words. I mean, this table right here really puts it all into perspective. He hoped for 1 million subs, he becomes the most subscribed person on the planet. He hoped YouTube could maybe be a job, he ends up building a global media empire. He was worried about a history test, he becomes a household name. It's just wild. And that's why this is about so much more than just success. The reality he's living in is on a completely different plane than the one he was dreaming of. It's a transformation so total, it's almost alien. So this leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. What actually happens when a dream isn't just achieved, but it's made to look small, like a cute little historical curiosity? Think about it. The person who recorded this video was trying to wrap his head around the number 1 million. The person who's going to watch it in 2025 operates in a world of hundreds of millions of subscribers, viewers, and dollars. They are, for all practical purposes, two different people, connected only by this one video. When we watch this message, we're basically witnesses to a conversation between two selves separated by this huge, unimaginable gulf of success. And it leaves us with this one final question. What is the psychological destination when you arrive at a future that is infinitely, impossibly grander than the one you prayed for?